name is Rusanda and I will be moderating tonight. And we have two great speakers tonight, Rusanda Curcă and Yulia Kostereva, who I will introduce in a moment. So today we will hear Rusanda first, and then Yulia, then we will open up for questions, so you're welcome to ask any questions that you're curious about for their presentations, and I will also ask them some questions myself, and then we will have some puncte and drinks, so you're welcome to stay. We will also have one more workshop in this series that Vladimir mentioned, which is taking place tomorrow from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. So if you want to join, you're very warmly welcome. It will be by Bojan Djordjev, who you can see there. And Bojan will also be a panelist. Will be presenting tomorrow along with Yulia Kostereva in this very same format at 6. So as Vladimir said, this series of events is taking place in the framework of a research project called Contemporary Art, Peace Building, Popular Culture and Peace Building in Eastern Europe, where we have 3 case studies, one in Armenia, one in Poland, and one in Moldova. And the goal of this project is to understand how contemporary art can or cannot contribute to making society more just and more equal. And we're specifically looking at independent art initiatives that work from the ground, so not large international organizations that come with a predefined program, but rather to understand what are local artists working with, what are their situations, what are their concerns. So, and having said that, Rusanda Curcă, our first speaker. Rusanda is a DJ, a rural DJ, a cultural, environmental, and civic activist, and she is based in Puncte village here in Moldova. She is the co-founder of the Center for Cultural Projects, Artă, which has been active for quite some time now, and which promotes access to art and culture in the rural areas for marginalized groups. She's also the director of the Coalition of the Independent Cultural Sector of Moldova, which is an umbrella organization that unites the representatives of the independent cultural scene. Rusanda is interested in the dynamics of cultural ecosystems, supporting participatory governance, and the democratization of culture. Beautiful. And after Rusanda, we will hear Yulia Kostereva. Yulia is an artist, curator, and organizer from Ukraine. She graduated from the National Academy of Fine Art and Architecture in Kyiv. Her practice concerns both visual arts and the art of interaction. Together with the artist Yuriy Kruchak, she launched the platform Open Place. This is an artistic initiative that aims to facilitate discussions and bring together artists from Ukraine and other countries, and to offer possible perspectives of development of art, politics, and of social cultural transition. Open Place has been active since 1999 and has organized a variety of exhibitions, interventions, projects, and has a variety of publications and a lot of
good evening. One more time. I rather said everything, like you just didn't mention, and also farm. So this is one more thing to add about my my activity, and we were like speaking with Arada about the title of my presentation, and you know it's a very fancy title, but I will change it now in like trying to build safe cultural spaces in rural regions, because you know we are doing things, but we are also learning by doing. So this is always a learning process. Yeah, I wanted to start with my short video, but everything was said. This is my photo from the Moldovan-Ukrainian border in February 2022, when I was waiting for an Ukrainian family to pass the border and to host them in Kharkov. I will tell you a bit about Artas, which was founded in 2015. We have like 10 years of experience. We started with making workshops on playwriting for theater, like theater dramaturgy, and then in 2019 we moved to Kharkov because it was like two women-led organization, and then my colleague left to Bucharest and I was left alone, and then I decided, okay, and I also lost the job in Chisinau. I moved back to Kharkov because I lived in the city for 10 years. So then in 2019, like I moved the activity of the Artas in the village that I'm currently based. This is not so far away, it's like 52 kilometers. And Kharkov, it's like we are 1,000 inhabitants. We are still two women in the organization. Yeah, 24 is the first time when we can have a full-time employee. I still do a lot of unpaid work in this organization. Yeah, and the aim now is to develop and promote access to arts and culture in rural areas. I don't know, like I'm using marginalized, but marginalized as we, rural population, like marginalized in accessing arts and culture, as it's super centralized in the city, and also budget-wise, everything it's like centralized in capital and in bigger cities, and then in villages the access is really poor. And we initiated the Art in the Neighborhood rural platform for education through culture in 2020. Like we started in COVID, organizing concerts in neighborhoods in 3 villages, and then we just keep to develop this platform. I will speak later about it. And then we are running a national mobility program for artists and cultural workers, which a program which was created by the coalition in 2023, Coalition of Independent Cultural Sector, and we coordinated from 2024. So around 15 or 16 artists are applying to the open call, and then they are going in rural areas or small cities, having a 1 week or 2 week residency there. Then we have also an international residency for artists and activists from Caucasus region, and this year we are organizing an international youth summer lab on topic of environment and activism. And this is our culture house. It's an important working principle, I would say, because in every project that we are involved, we try to work with the public infrastructure. and activate the public infrastructure, being that culture houses, public libraries, museums, and maybe community centers. And we have a quite big Soviet culture heritage, around they were 1,200 cultural houses in Moldova, 900 of them in a good shape, like workable. They were not in a very precarious state, so you could organize activities there. But usually they are subutilized, because the villages don't have capacities and budgets for production to organize things there. So this is art in the neighborhood. I told you that we created this program in COVID just to create this access to arts and culture in the time of very big, I don't know how to say, global stress. And it's like people were afraid to leave their houses, they didn't know what's happening, and then we just wanted to organize small events, open space, where we'll participate 10 to 20 people, and just to listen to classical music. For some of them, this were the first time listening to some live concert in our villages. And then this is actually the project. The platform on that platform in 22 and 23, we conceptualized it in like the 4-piece edition, because we had when the Russian invasion started, I think first 3 months, like all my colleagues, activists, artists, were involved in providing this first aid, hosting the displaced people, then ensuring them the basic materials, food, hygienic stuff. And then when in the village we were around 5 to 7 people who were assisting the refugees. And when the state reacted, and took some pressure from the civil society, who reacted the first, then we had the time and emotions to think what we could do for the people who are who came in our villages, but they don't have any organized spaces for dialogue. And we thought that to continue art in the neighborhood, this format where we are inviting artists to facilitate different formats of activities, mainly with the children and for women also some. So we were 10 villages on this platform from 5 different districts in Moldova. And then we were partnering with local NGOs, but also with the village halls, and that meant that we have access to culture house or to library as a space. And we worked with more than 30 artists who were traveling in those 10 villages. We had this format of 1-day activity, 3-day activity, or 7-day activity, so they could spend more time in the village. So I think this is one of the most popular activity, like community dinners, because this is the format where the women could participate. And here you have a Ukrainian woman, 2 Moldovan women, one from Japan and one from US. And we were traveling with Gusto Hora, is the format of the and we had the chance just to share our knowledge in food, food culture, to prepare something together. So also for displaced women from Ukraine and hosting village to have this space to create relationships. Yeah, this is another workshop in other village on creating motanka puppets, if you know, I think it's. This is on printing, DIY printing workshop in Khartov. This is the setup for a concert. Yeah, and those are the formats. And usually, like, because we were coordinating the housing processes in the village, we were in contact with all the women and kids from Ukraine. So we could, like, personally build this relationship and invite them to the activities. And also, like, when speaking about safe spaces, you know, it's, I don't know how much safetyness we can build there, but at least the activity format of workshop, working with the artist, working with something that you need to create, I don't know, you just have the tools and you create whatever you want. And then you have this space where nobody will judge you, nobody will impose you, nobody will ask you to speak or to interact. You want to speak, you can speak, or you just can focus on your art piece and feel that there is no pressure. And like during these 2 years, I've noticed, and also the women were saying that people, kids, children build the relationships with their peers. They were spending time and with outside the frame of the activities that we were organizing, you know, and this space for dialogue that we built helped them to create their spaces for dialogue with other children from the village, and maybe not feel so excluded. This is a workshop led by an Austrian theater company who came here to work in Bulgota village, and they worked for a week on creating puppets from what they found on the streets, and they performed. After that, they had a public performance, and I think this was the only case when like they had 15 participants, and at the end of the workshop they had 20. You know, they managed to create such an environment that kids just keep. They were keep coming and coming, and also they had a psychologist with them, so it was very easy. We had like a few people with a psychological background who we were inviting, and also we were assuming that artists know how to work with the kids, and like this was a right assumption because they knew how to manage maybe stressful situation, because you know the kids are drawing something and then they are starting to cry because of this fear and stress that they gain from the war. Yeah, this is the way I was bringing the artist to the culture house with my motoblog. Yeah, and this is about art in the neighborhood. We kept it for 2 years, and then the women village and the villages, because, for instance, in Kharkov we don't have any women or children from Ukraine, or just in villages near the border, in Volunteer, for instance, which is closer to the Ukrainian border. So, and now I don't know which is the situation with the refugees in the country. From my last data, it's like around 100,000 people. Yeah, and they are mainly in state institutions. So we had this format where we use public institutions to organize this format of activities in that specific, very stressful situation for everybody, you know, both for Ukrainians and also for Moldovans as bordering country, and also a country that was host, for people who are fleeing the war. So this is one story, and another story is not about, maybe it's about art and conflict, but it's not a conflict that we would say as civil society that we are in. It's a conflict at the political level, and I'm speaking about relationship with partners from Gagauzia. I don't know if you know the context with Gagauzia. Did you spoke? Because it's an autonomous region in south of Moldova, inhabited by Gagauz people, which are speaking a Turk language, and like at political level, they were always. I don't know, we were divided like them and us, and we are pro-Romanian, pro-European, and we are super progressive, and then there are Gagauzia, which are with Russia, pro-Russian, and blah blah. And this is a political level, very divided, and when the elections are starting, then you are having this political discourse everywhere. And we as Arta started to make a partnership with a village from Gagauzia, Gaidar village, and it was 2024 actually. It was our first partnership. They are mainly speaking Russian and this Turk language, Gagauzian. And we asked them if they want to partner with us in a project named DJ the Village. As I am DJing, I had an interest to promote this tool, let's say, for social change, and also to organize workshops for DJs for youth from Sahat villages, I think, So they would organize their own parties in the villages as I don't know, I worked with around 15 directors of culture houses, which said that the main problem in the village is the lack of discotecas. And then we said, okay, let's do this project, and I asked partners from Gaidar if they are interested to join. So we had around 21 DJing workshop in all villages. In Gaidar, we selected DJs, like tutors who are Russian speaking, so there will be no language barrier. The tutors were from Tiraspol, from Transnistria. They were super open. We bought for each village the DJing equipment, so they would have access to it. And also I was facilitating a workshop on how do we reactivate the public infrastructure in rural areas. So the format was that I'm not just going and giving them the information. I was just presenting some study cases, and then we were working for 4 hours mapping the cultural infrastructures in their villages, mapping the needs of the village, and then thinking what can we do in those, mapping the human resources needed and also financial. And these workshops, I'm not speaking so Russian, so I just took my colleague with me. So she helped me when I couldn't express myself in that language, but never like imposed things, never came with something that I would not consider that they would need or it's parachuted, because we just wanted to collaborate on a project, to understand also where further can we go with our collaborations, what are the possibilities. And those are the photos. These are photos from Gaidar with Mrs. Puhaceni, volunteer, and these are the workshops with the cultural workers and organizations. And we also made a series of podcasts. From the collaboration from the DJ The Village, we enter another collaboration for the Carpet Festival, which will be on 23 of August. We will have the electronic carpet there, the DJ stage, and we will try still to mix electronic music with Moldovan and Gagauzyan folk music at that stage, and to try to how you call it, to valorifica, to valorize to valorize the heritage, the local heritage, and also the Moldovan heritage with electronic music. And these are the principles that we have: mutual trust and cultural respect, and I'm spending time in that village, and then the coordinator from that village are spending time in my village. So this is just the way we are trying to build this safe space as a physical space, but also as an emotional space where we can work together and to be as an alternative, to the political messages that are promoted in all medias and social media about this dividedness between the Moldovans and the Gagauzians, and the Moldovans are the good ones and the Gagauzians the bad ones. Sharing or not sharing, but building capacity, as they maybe don't have so much experience in this project-based activity. It's one of the activities and the formats that I want to develop, and the festival is good, but a program, a long-term program for Gaidar village, but also for the neighboring village would be very nice, and we will work next in future to develop a long program, artistic program based on their needs for the district, Chadărlungă district. cohabitate peacefully in this small country. Yeah, so this, I think this is work. You can find me everywhere. You have the other accounts. And if you have any questions or, I don't know, comments, clarifications, please let me know.
Thank you, Rusanda. We can make those think of, unless somebody has a burning question now, and then ask them. Thank you so much.
My presentation called Between War and War, and it was my attempt to think how the artistic strategy changed from 2014 when the war in Ukraine started and 2023 when this full-scale, or 22 when this full-scale invasion started. So basically, I tried to choose more or less one project from each year, but first there is a short information about open place. It's two artists, Yuryy Kruchak and me, Yulia Kostereva. So we have some program in our activity. As Rada said, we started in 1999 from understanding that we as a young artist who try to find the institution which fit to our expectation, and we didn't find it, and then we decided that maybe we can develop institution by ourselves, but because we were only like young artists, we also need to learn a lot. So our activity also include research and a lot of interview with a representative of the different institutions. So there was also interview with Vladimir in 2014. So we tried to find how this grassroots institution in the different countries survive, how do they approach and build the relation with their audience, what topic important for them. So that's how basically our activity was shaped by our needs for like realize ourselves as an institution. So we have a different program. When we have possibility, we try to support also independent artists. Why independent? Because independent artists not kind of, this is the most precarious members of cultural workers, because they don't have institutional support, and very often they are not able to apply for grants, because to apply for grants you need to have some kind of legal status. That's why when we have possibility, we choose to support these like independent actors. Also, we conduct exhibitional program And when we think about exhibition, it is one of the questions which we ask ourselves, it's how to exhibit process-based practices. Because when we think about the work of art, which have like finished form, and you can put it in the exhibitional space, this is one thing, but when there is a kind of process with many people involved, how you can share in the format of the exhibition this practice, this is a question which we ask ourselves. Research program, and so I already partly said that we research how institutions function, but also we research how societies function. And the workshop, this is one of the methods which we came up with when we were, so first we kind of declare that we are artists who work with the society, and in 2012 we were invited to have a workshop in Welsh with the people we don't know. So our answer, like when we started to think how we can implement this, so our idea was that, okay, we can ask people what's important for them, not to kind of put on them or like juxtapose them with our idea, but just to ask people what is important for them. So this is how this workshop appeared, and then it is developed in something which we did today. Different shape, different form, but the same idea, to kind of to let people share what is important for them, not to put on them our values. And the important point for this kind of activity is respect people, because I really believe that you only can hear the person you respect, and if you want to hear, it means that everyone who come to this place have own experience, and this is experience valuable to share. Also, we have international collaboration program, and it is also connected partly with the residency program when we host artists, but also, of course, we try to keep, because in cultural field, at least in Ukraine, one of the problems is a kind of to be able to do something for a long time, and it is also related to projects that you can develop, or topics that you could work with, or connection you can keep. So you can make a kind of one-time connection, which also can lead to some result. But from our experience, long-term connection more valuable, because you can go deeper in your relations, you also build the trust, and then on the next level you can discuss more controversial topic in between. So residency program, as I said, and because Open Place basically started as an institution without the wall, so we didn't have the physical premises. At some period we also call Open Place our studio, which situated in the 17th floor of apartment building. So the idea will come up that to be institution or so you can perform the institution actually, not even being an institution, because institution, it is not about the wall, it is about the values, it is about also archiving scenes, so kind of remember the processes which happened in society and in culture. It's also a kind of be able to be platform for another people, for another artist, for another people. So, and actually all these things you can do without having the walls. So the idea which we came up with, it's institution which can appear in many places. Basically, also we have very often a situation in Ukraine when there is institution with the wall, but without the program, for example. Then you can collaborate with this institution, let's say, both fruitful in a fruitful way for the both sides. Yeah, we also have a publication, and publication is also one of the tools for us to think about the information that we collect, because we, as I said, we collected information in the form of interview. Later on, I will also show a kind of archive which we develop. So it is a kind of different information, personal stories, institutional stories, and the publication, it is the way to somehow to focus on some topic, for example, and then you choose from the information you have some stories which can problematize the things, but also some stories or interview which can give some answer to this question that you want to discuss. And now we kind of start this 10 years period, but what I wanted to tell, because it was like 2014, it was, let's say, our as an open place last public intervention, and it was done not in Ukraine, and I will tell why. Because if we come back 10 years before, for 2004, after the Orange Revolution and during the Orange Revolution, artist was a face of this revolution, the face of the protest. They create the visual materials, the kind of banners, how would say, placard?
Yeah, posters.
So they were like artist was, as I said, like face of the protest. But for that 10 years, from 2004 to 2014, society kind of learned, but plus mass media. So the public space became very overloaded with the visual information, like protest, anti-protest, different kind of visual revealing, plus public place also, like commercial, I don't know, posters or banners also came. So public place became like very overloaded with the visual information. It means that any what you add visually to the public place just like dissolve in this mass information. That's why, for example, that was, as I said, our last public intervention. It was in Bialystok, and it was a time when the first refugee from Crimea came to Bialystok, and basically we choose these trash bins with the wheels as a symbol of this also kind of not rooted, something not rooted, but also it is connected with the very local story of the Bialystok in 2014, when Bialystok was under construction and many trees was uprooted. So we just pick up one of the trees which had to be cut and put it in the bins. And at the same time there was a story from the local people who tell us that in the center before there was a park which they like, but also during the reconstruction park disappeared. So we brought these trees from the suburb of the street to the center where there was a park. And this is the first exhibition after 2014 in Hövde in Sweden, and there will be few pictures from this exhibition. And what I wanted to tell with this picture that in 2016, which we as an open place curate in the exhibition, we still consider exhibition as in a very traditional way, as a place to exhibit the work, to show. And if we look at the work of art, it is already after this revolution of dignity, after war in Ukraine started, the work rather look like symbols. So artists want to create a kind of symbol which will solve some very complex topic in, let's say, one picture. But also, for example, here we see how artists work with this exaggeration of the public space, because Alexander Kurmas, he made these two photo series. One is Halabude, where he just used, like this is a photo from the street, and this is an architecture. So this is kind of the buildings or tent which people built to hide from because it was winter time, so people need to heat themselves somehow. And another series, this one, the tools of resistance. And artists use this methodology when he take these tools which people use as a weapon and put it in the situation of the museum, let's say, in white environment, just to give to this object additional value, to kind of focus on it. And this is already the next step when we work with workers, like Ukrainian workers in Poland, or like labor migrant from Ukraine to Poland. And so first and this is also exhibition space. How we come up with this idea to turn exhibition space into the kind of laboratory space. they will choose to sleep a bit more or to go to the exhibition even to tell about their problems. They rather use variant to sleep like few hours more. So we appeared in the situation as an artist that we kind of had this story from the people and somehow need to find the way how to represent the people's voices, but not instead of them, but somehow to think about the situation, how to make them presented in the exhibition space. So our idea was we propose linocut as a like time-consuming technique. So to produce linocut you need time to do it. So we think that it is good possibility people join and spend time together. And we use people's story as a starting point. So we actually started that time this nomadic archive, which this is a people's story. So we read these stories together with people who came for the exhibition. And then we discuss, but that time still the result, what we saw as a result of this kind of laboratory, it's still the object. The object kind of manifest, which still appeared in the exhibition space as an object. So it's a step forward, but not as much. Then we continue this approach with exhibition space as a laboratory space, different kind of activity we do. But still the result was, as here we also see kind of installation is still kind of object thinking. So about this archive, that was a personal story of the people, but then we start to see how this personal story can be read in the different contexts. Because when this story taken in one context, and for example we want to present them in the different context, if the people in that context will understand the story the same way as in the context where this story came from. That's how this transparent layer appeared. So we try to read the story with the local people and put this transparent level. Of course, translate the story to the language people speak. But also to ask person to read and to underline what is important in their story, or also what is not clear in the story. In 2022, we also made, because in 2020 we collaborated in the small city Solidar on the western Ukraine. With the people, there was one organization wanted to kind of came to this Solidar city, but this institution wanted to know what kind of activities they can propose to the local people, which would be kind of more perceived by them. Another word, what people needed, what kind of cultural experience they had before, what activity the institution can propose. So Open Place did this research in Solidar in 2021. So we continue to people, and then in 2022 Solidar became one of the cities on the frontier line after the full-scale invasion. So suddenly there was like less and less people, and suddenly we realized that 10,000 people somewhere, because the city which had like 10,000 dwellers or people who live, there are no one there because it's not available for living anymore. It looked like this picture, Solidar from the drone, totally destroyed house. So we contacted people, tried to contact people to understand where they move, how do they feel in this new situation, how did they adapt, what problems they also have. And 2021 it's a bit mixed up in chronologically, but this is one of the residency which we made in Kharkiv, and also the residency was inspired by the residency name our school Puncte, and the residency was inspired by the community of one of the region of Kharkiv, namely Puncte. This is the district which was built around this Kharkov, this tractor enterprise. What is inspiring about these local people, that basically they found the river, which so they knew that somewhere on the territory of the district there is this sprinkle of the river, which afterwards they can see as a nice, beautiful river, but somewhere it should start. So basically the activists of the region tried to find where this river, so they make a kind of very proper research in archive to see how this region changed, like where this river can be. So they find out that authority of the region wanted to make a kind of reconstruction of the region, and they already prepare the place for the building. And to make people not protest against of this, they made this territory kind of abandoned. There was a trash, people just collected in this place. So it was unpleasant place, people don't want to be there, like garbage, like everything. So they found that this river also was, because the authority of this region, they also put in the same pipe river and this kind of water which people like how it's from the water closets, everything like in the same pipe. So when they found this sprinkle, they invite special organization which make a test of the water, because of course authority told that it is not a river, this is only the water which go from the buildings, like used water. So, and this organization said that it is really this sprinkle of the river. And then they start very long process of cleaning of the bend. So basically they like review this river. All people unite because like they have each Sunday they have a kind of gathering when they clean, and from time you can see like how this place changed from the place of trash to the place of recreation. So this is that's why we called it our school HTZ, because we were inspired by people and we want somehow to learn from them. In 2022 we made the exhibition online because it was planned that we will make an exhibition in Ukraine, but there are full-scale invasion and we make an exhibition online, but somehow try to make environment of this online exhibition which also can get this mood of the war or kind of the situation. And then this is two pictures, one picture from Lviv, another picture from Bialystok, basically internally displaced people and refugees from Ukraine. Yuryy worked with the internally displaced people in Lviv. I worked with the refugee people in Bialystok, and it was mostly workshop, and in Lviv it was a poncho workshop. In Bialystok we proposed different kind of activities for the children and families. And what I wanted to say is that there was a time after 2022 when artists didn't produce painting at all, because there was also connected with this kind of saving museum collection, when you understand that your work can be, I don't know, appeared in a territory which is occupied, so you basically, it's very problematic to have artistic archive as a painting, because it's hard to move it anywhere. That's why artists try to turn to some ephemerical kind of mediums, small drawings, some kind of process-based practices which is not necessarily even finished with some kind of objects. This is work which have an object, but it is rather about connection of people, because basically this object serves as a bridge between the city. This object have a small rotor in which you can blow, and then the bigger rotor in another place became rotate. So you can send actually your impulse, your support and solidarity to another city through like blowing. But also what was interesting for us is that the people became, when they understand that they can see each other, they agreed to organize a meeting. Some people come to the place, for example, in Kharkiv, and other people come to the Bialystok, and they just say hi to each other. So the artwork became the source of kind of people meeting. This is last slide, and this is exhibition which we curated recently. And here already the exhibition space became a real laboratory without object as a result, but rather as a place for sharing of artistic methodology, as a place of where artists also can propose some activity to people. And here, just to let you know that this is the work of Stefan Rusu, artist from Moldova, and this work, first edition of this work was in Lublin in 2013. So the work is called Kitchen Canteen for Cultural Worker, and basically this is a mobile model which can be extended to invite different activities. You can cook food, you can organize presentation, and Vladimir also had his workshop during which we try to rethink this place, what else we can do, and also this alternative economy. We also try to research. This is all what I wanted to say. Sorry, it's a bit long.
Thank you so much. Do you want us to stay?
I will, yeah, just open for some ones, and I will introduce and you can also, the audience, you can get some water if you want. If you want, yes, same here.
You can be between us.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you both so much. I think it was really interesting both your presentations. One similarity, one similar method that I noticed is that you go into communities and you did what you somebody called a mapping, so like seeing what are people's needs and then like developing your projects or programs from there. And I'm interested, Rusanda, in you as a person who is also from a village. Do you, like, are people approaching you differently than, say, if somebody would be from the city, or are you perceived as an outsider, for example, when you go to these villages? What were your experiences? How do you establish the trust with these communities?
In my village I am not so well perceived because I am doing environmental activism. You know, and when you are doing activism and telling to people, oh, it's not okay to burn leaves, you know, and other ways. So I'm, We were in more confrontational relationship with the villagers. And now, like, it's more or less okay. So when organizing some activities in the culture houses, there will be also people coming to the community dinners and to the concerts. But yeah, it's harder, and you know, I'm always telling this story, like Jesus Christ story, that he went, when he went in his village, he couldn't do any wonders there because everybody knew him, and then he left to New York and he made his shows there and did his activism. So this is the like also my colleagues from Jesus Christ. Iisus Hristos când s-a dus acasă, n-a putut să facă nici o minune. Yeah, and you know, I was at a conference in Šibenik last year, and you know, this was the story of my colleague from Serbia who was telling that, you know, I am at home, I am always scared that nobody will come to the workshops and stuff. So for me, it's harder to work in Khartov, and it's like I am super welcomed in the villages that I am going there. And people just love me, and they are following me on, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, and like I can, you know, connect with them very easy, and I am very happy to work with them. And also, I didn't mention that in each village there is a local coordinator, and usually is the directress of the culture house or the local NGO, so they know the crowd, they know like whom to approach and how to speak.
Okay, so you're always working with them together?
Yeah. Of course, we are not coordinating things in other villages than Khartov.
How was it for you, Yulia? Did you have any troubles with like the reception with you and Yuriy and also like other artists?
Yeah, of course. Conflict may happen, but also we use this approach to have a kind of local partners or person who will kind of introduce you to the context of. So this is our first alliance, but yes, then I think this is always the question of provide the kind of possibility for conflict sides to meet and to discuss, to tell about, because it rarely that the conflict start from nothing. Always it is a kind of something which became the starting point. So when it is start, it's important to not to let it go kind of till it's already on the stage which it couldn't solve, but to kind of to at once to find the possibility and place and platform to discuss. But for example, when we work during this residency in Kharkiv, we also work with physics technology institute, and the problematic of the place was that there was big equipment which couldn't move. So there was the physics who worked with a huge exaggerator of these small parts, and at the same time the other group of people which work on musification of this place, because they want to save this place from the developer. But still it was a conflict because people didn't want to be musified. They are kind of active researcher and scientists. So there was, and also I think very often the case for the conflict, this is a different expectation. If already people come to the process and agree to participate, but still have different expectation, then it can be on some point be conflict.
And speaking maybe about this, like remembering and memory, I found this project that you did in Soledar really, really interesting. were some of the responses that people gave you when you approached them, and whether, I'm not sure if you have already shown it or whether you are in the process of gathering the data, but like how you present it.
Yeah, we already presented, and it was, let's say, we publish the form which people can fill with some questions, but of course I think definitely because it was in 2022 and now the situation changed, because that time people still believe that they like soon will be able to come back, so they rather think about how they will rebuild or reconstruct their city, and now already it needs to be updated because rather people already let's say rooted in new places, have new connections. Of course, all of them, like children, went to school there, so everything different now. So ideally, we need to make a new addition. I think the result will be quite different.
Yes. Rusanda, you mentioned like for your projects in Gaidar village in Gagauzia that you want to be an alternative to the political narratives of this division between Moldovans and Gagauzians. Did you speak about this topic directly with the people? Is this something that you addressed explicitly, or was this more at the back of your minds?
You mean with my colleagues from Gaidar?
Yeah, with the people.
No, we never had like such an open discussion that I want, to do that. Like we are doing from our actions and collaborations, like we are creating those alternatives.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't have like, Anya, listen, do we want to create an alternative to what the politicians are saying? Yeah, so no.
But do you think do you perceive that this happened? Is it like a real alternative to these discussions of division?
Yes, it is, because like they are in the situation, like in Gaidar, in the situation when the culture department, like Comrade culture department, wanted to take their festival, Aidar Kilim Festival, and they said that they will not give them the festival. They wanted to do it in how you call this, shoreland or hayland, something, attraction park. Gagauzia land.
It's like an amusement park.
Yes.
Like
And
Gagauzia themed amusement park.
yes, and they wanted to organize this carpet festival in Gagauzia land. And they said, no, this is like the village festival and it's our festival, we will do them. And then the culture department didn't finance. And they said, okay, we will go by our own and we will collaborate with our Moldovan colleagues, so they will help us to organize. And last year was the first edition when they organized it with the support of the Agency for Intercultural Relations, and this year they are having also Arta Asia as partners and the Ministry of Culture for the first time in their life. So they are trying, they see that it's problematic to work with the local culture department, that they are super politicized. And also, it's not only their case. In Chadărlunga, they also, they cancelled this horse ride that, it's the most popular event in Chadărlunga. And because they don't want to collaborate with the culture department, then they cut the funds, and they need to understand how they will work further. So yeah, I think this is a statement that we will work anyway, and we will defend our activities and our independences somehow. At least this curatorial of the festival, and they will have also artists in residency, like Moldovan artists there at the festival. So yeah, like the relations are very calde, warm. Yeah. But no direct discussions with the colleagues that, look, we are building alternative discourses to the Gagauzians one, like political one, yeah.
I was also just a small question, but I found this really interesting that you said that one of the main things that people said had been lacking were the discotheques.
Yes.
Had there been attempts before you did your projects? Had there been attempts to create spaces for dancing and gathering in the culture houses, maybe in those villages? Or
yeah, in Soviet period for sure there were discotheques in each village.
But since the Soviet era and before your project
and then before our project started in Khartov, at least my colleague organized every Friday discotheques, and it was the only discotheque in the district, but then he was fired by our mayor. After the project, there is some villages that are organizing the discotheque, and this is Gaidar is one of them. Like on Friday or on Sunday, so at least 1 or 2 discotheques per month they have in the village. The other villages, they are organizing, but not so. They have summer season, and they are organizing discotheques in summer season, and then during the winter season they are less active. And also I understand that the project-based logic, it's not so sustainable, so you cannot expect that after one year project people or youth will start to do the discotheques, because we had this also component of advocacy and to understand how youth can use the spaces. And from the directors was very, very much lack of trust. We will give them space, and they will watch porno, they will do sex, drink alcohol, and then ruin everything that we build. So this was the main argument why they would not enter, informal relationship with the youth initiative who would self-organize around the parties. So yeah, sporadically they still organize this, but it's not as we wrote in the project outcome that every village will have discotecas, blah blah, because the problem is much deeper of really these trust relationships between the directors who are used to come from 10 to 5 at the work and then go home and not have this 4 to 10 working schedule where youth will come and use the spaces and really transform those public infrastructure in a community space where they can spend their free time and activate them.
I find it really interesting how you're talking about this village public infrastructure, and I wanted to ask because back home I'm from Serbia, we also have this heritage of village halls, cultural centers, etc. But it really depends from place to place. Sometimes they're completely commercialized or completely ruined and not used or used for some different purpose. What is the situation here, like, are all of these cultural centers still active as cultural centers, or is it like mixed use? And what is also like the official state politics for their use and for their purpose?
So the cultural centers are under the village halls. Yeah, they are not under the Ministry of Culture, and each village hall are allocating a specific amount of money for their functioning. And this usually covers the salaries for 2-3 employees and no production budget. And this also can cover, the village day, maybe some Christmas stuff, and 31st of August, the language day. As far as I know, all of the buildings are public infrastructure. They are not privatized. Maybe in some specific cases where, I asked in one village, do you have any public infrastructure? No, because the last mayor, he privatized everything, even the village hall. So, it might be such cases, but usually this is public infrastructure. And now, for instance, our culture house is hosting the library and the museum. Other culture houses are hosting the youth centers, and other are hosting some public services bureau and also post offices. So it can be mixed, but usually they have spaces for cultural activities, and we have this format of ensembles, folk ensembles that they are using. Like this is the main activity of the culture house, the activities of the folk ensembles and the non-professional theater stuff. Yeah, it's still public infrastructure, and when the project had this title, building together the public civic partnership or something, co-governance of the public infrastructure. So we are still having this idea that the public infrastructure should become this safe space, and the public infrastructure should really be public, and we need to have access to it, and we need to use it for our communitarian needs. It should not be commercialized.
Which I find, this is also something that Oberlit has been working on, and you also mentioned, Yulia, in Ukraine. I found this really interesting, that when public space is so full of advertising, so full of symbols, how do you enter it as an artist? I mean, there was in the early 2000s this practice of ad busting or subverting advertising that is already there. But how has it changed maybe since 2014? Have artists adopted different strategies to enter this overloaded public space?
I mean that the house of the culture is also public space. And I think that this is a strategy which artists collaborate with the people or propose some activity in more clean space.
Interior.
But I think I forgot, because this is when you create the strategy for the presentation, because I forgot to set, I started that artist was the face of the protest in 2005, but in 2014 they became bureaucratical procedure. So this is how this whole society can be more effective as a state.
Kind of related to that, I think the two of you, to various extents, you build something on your own, or you said you specifically when you started Open Place you rejected the institutions that were there, or you did not find what you as young artists needed for these institutions. And I think this is also something how Open emerged, that there were no adequate institutions in place. And I find this super interesting, and I'm wondering like how has your relationship with the audience developed, especially because you've been doing this for quite some time. How has it developed in this more than 20 years that you've been acting?
Yeah, I think that in a way we came from this from the start we understood that we want and need direct contact with the audience, but I think that the strategy and approach changed because like first you have this feeling that you need it and want it, but then to come to the real understanding of these equal relations, you need to make this way, because and it's always you make a mistake and you change something, you have some kind of feedback and you change, because you can believe that you build some horizontal, but at the end it is still hierarchical, and you didn't notice it until someone will tell you. But also we understood that, as I already mentioned, that for someone to tell you, you need programming the scenes, you need to think about the moment when someone can tell you. So you need to think about the procedure when people gather together, not just go forward, and then at the result happen what happened. So you need to already think about when it will be this moment, when we sit together. And recently we came up with the idea that each day we started from discussion, what we can change, what was yesterday, how it was, and so it's like everyone have possibility to say.
So you plan your institutional critique. This is super interesting.
We had a case yesterday that we are organizing this youth summer lab in Kharkov, and a trans person from Berlin applied. And then we had discussion within the team that I'm not sure that if it's a very visible queer person, I cannot ensure the safetyness in Kharkov. Yeah, we didn't have such cases, so we need to discuss that among us, and maybe to discuss that at the common group, that common meeting that we will have with the participants. And then I exposed this person yesterday at the common meeting, like saying, look, like we didn't have the experience of hosting or having trans people in Kharkov, so we need to think together about the safetyness, how to behave, like where to host you, you know, not to have, because before there were cases when trans persons were harassed by the hosts. You know, in the villages, in Eco Village and in Ryshkova, and I said, okay, let's see how we are doing. And then that person reacted, because she said, like, you cannot just, she used the term outing. Yes, like you cannot tell in front of those people and expose me as a queer person. And you know, like I was shocked, because like it didn't came in my mind that I am exposing. I assumed that this is a safe space and we can speak about that. But it wasn't, yeah, and she said that usually you are speaking this in an email or you are having a one-to-one meeting. So, you know, this is one failure on how I didn't create this safe space because of my ignorance and lack of experience in dealing with such situations.
I mean, it's a learning curve, and I think we spoke about also yesterday quite a lot about safe spaces and how to make safe spaces, but I think like there is no such thing as safe spaces, but you can make them safer.
Yeah, safer.
And there is never the perfect safe space because it we all learn these things. I have a few more questions, but I also would like to open to the audience. If you would like to ask anything, I think it would be great. We have a few more minutes, and
Don't torture the audience.
No, if you don't have, we can also wrap up at this point, and we can also have some drinks, and I encourage you to, if you have any questions or curiosity about the projects, to approach Rusanda and Yulia and ask them. Okay, thank you so much. I would like to thank also openly everyone who contributed to setting it up, Christy for documenting, Vladimir, and thank you the audience for being here, for coming and listening, and also thank you Rusanda and Yulia for your presentations. It was really great to listen to you.
Yeah, thank you for